Hi, everybody. It's Karen, and I'm here with my mom, Barbara. How is everyone? And we, with 3 weeks left to go till the midterm election, we just wanted to do a little video to our friends and family across the country.
Hi, I have steered clear of politics when it comes to telling other people how I feel about things for a good part of my life. And I just feel this election is so important that Karen talked me into doing this. So I'm going to say a few things, and I know many of you have already voted. I have too, and I'm probably not going to change any minds here. But I'm just going to tell you how I feel, and I just want to say, even if you are of the other party, I still love you, and I want to be your friends, and I hope you'll still be my friend. Thanks.
Yeah, and that's one of our main messages is we want to have a country where people can be civil with one another, where people can still love each other and relate across difference as equals. And that's why we think it's just so important to share with you our viewpoints on things, and we welcome you to share your viewpoints on things. But we feel really strongly that we need a change in leadership in our country.
Hi. Um, may I say a few things
Yeah.
that I wrote down? I have a cheat sheet here. Okay, one thing is that reason that we should perhaps vote for Democrats is the climate change, which I think is so important. I don't know how many years we got left. How many is it, Karen?
Well, a report just came out that said if we do not make major change on our carbon emissions in the next 12 years, that climate change may be irreversible. So our children, our grandchildren, will be dealing with the consequences of this for their lifetime. We have 12 years to make decisive action, and so we need leaders who recognize that climate change is a problem and is actually going to do something about it.
And then also, I just think it's so horrible that the immigrant children are being detained down at the border, and I just think we need to not be the kind of a country that does that.
Yeah, and I agree with my mother. You know, obviously, racism is extremely important to me, ending racism. And I feel like the rhetoric and the actions of President Trump and the Republican Party is causing so much racism. We saw it in New York City this past weekend, where you have a mob of angry young men beating people up. We saw it in Charlottesville. And we see it in these everyday actions that are going on of people calling the cops on black people for no valid reason. And I think that we need leadership who brings people together, who unites people, and who can relate with all different kinds of people in our society. This is not who we are. We're better than this, and we can be better than this. And a lot of it comes from who our leaders are, and separating families, whether it's through incarceration or through separating immigrant families, is just, as a mother, it's unbearable to watch that happen. And I hope that all mothers can relate to that.
I also think, I realize this is not a presidential election. Trump is trying to make it a referendum on him. But we need to have good role models for our children. That is just so important. We need to bring back being civil to one another and get away from the crisis a day that Trump does with his tweets. I just think it's just important that we be nicer to one another.
Yeah, and I think especially with the sexual harassment and sexual assault stuff, you know, obviously I was very opposed to Kavanaugh getting confirmed to the Supreme Court before all the allegations of sexual assault came forward. And I'm opposed with him on the issues. I don't think we needed a seventh, white person on the Supreme Court when there's only 9 justices and we're going to become a majority people of color society by 2040. But putting aside all of that, as a mother of both a son and a daughter, I can tell you, I have total confidence that my son will never be falsely accused of sexually harming anybody because I have raised him to respect women. But I am terrified of the signal that has been sent to would-be sexual assailants and the impact it will have on my daughter. I myself was sexually assaulted when I was in high school by a popular athlete at a high school party when I was a sophomore in high school. And, honestly, I just think that the signal that was sent through confirming Kavanaugh, despite all of that, is that it's totally okay to do that and there will be no consequence. And if you, as the survivor, come forward, there will be consequences for you. So just be silent about it. And I just think this is completely the wrong direction that we need to move in. As a society, we need to, everyone needs to be safe from all forms of violence, especially and including sexual violence. So I think it's really important that we get leaders in place who are role models, who do not participate in sexual violence themselves and do not condone sexual violence through their actions.
Also, I think right now the Republicans have all 3 branches of government, the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. And I don't think that's healthy for our country. We need to, and this election that we're having coming up, need to elect at least a Democratic House and perhaps the Senate also. But like right now, we have legislative, executive, and judicial that's all controlled by the Republicans. The Senate and the House are not reigning in this president, and we need to have some check on his powers. We are not a what's the word? Dictatorship. So far, last time I checked, we're a democracy.
Yes. And that's why we strongly encourage people to vote in the midterm election. We encourage people to volunteer between now and the midterm election. I myself am going to be going out to Turlock, California on Saturday to turn out the vote. I'm planning to go to Florida for the election itself to help with voter protection in Florida. There are fantastic candidates all across the country. I know there's a debate tonight between Ted Cruz and Beto O'Rourke. But it's also super important, not just the federal election, but your state and local. These are the people who have the most immediate impact on your life, is the people who set local policy and state policy. So please, we've got 3 weeks to go. Let's educate ourselves about the issues, the candidates. Let's put pressure on candidates to represent the issues that we care about, and let's participate in this election and bring some accountability back to our government and get some people elected who are going to be real role models for our society.
This is my last point, so bear with me. I think other countries do not respect us anymore. And one thing that we need to do is elect more Democrats in the legislature here, and hopefully we can rein in this president and remove him from office in the next 2020 election.
So that's basically it. We welcome your comments. We urge you to, make similar videos, reach out to your friends and family, and encourage them to vote in this election. We urge you to run for office yourself, and we especially want to see more people of color, more women of color running for office. We strongly support that, and we're so there's just fantastic candidates, so inspiring all across the country, and I'm just I've never been as worried as I am about our country. I really yeah, it's a difficult time, and it's been very depressing, but each of us can do something. This is a democracy that depends on participation, and we all have spheres of influence. We all can use our voice. We can all get out in the media. There's so many different ways that we can affect the outcome of this election. And what I really hope is that people don't let the feeling of overwhelm or the feeling of sadness prevent them from getting involved. And if there's any way that Mom or I can be helpful to you, if you want a listening ear, if you want some guidance, or you just want to talk about the issues. And I know it can be like here in California, the ballot, it's like a book. It's like a phone book, because there's so many different propositions and, different, what do all these people even do? It's very overwhelming. I know before I went to law school, it was very confusing to me. After I went to law school, I still, when I read these propositions, sometimes I can't tell what I'm voting for. So if you ever want to talk about it, we are here for you. And we care about you. We care about our children, our grandchildren, and we just really want to create a future that is safe for everybody. And that's the decision that we have in November 6th. Are we going to move toward a society that's safe, where people can be free and people can be equal, or are we going to move further away from that? And I just urge you to really, think about that and choose wisely. Okay?
And get out and vote, whatever way you're going to vote. Love you all.
Get out and vote. We love you. Okay. Bye.